We generated around 560 plus million impressions organically. Those
creating property cards for the first time for people owning houses in the rural areas.
We have a patent on a bits technology, which...
But we were really guided by what we wanted it to be.
In terms of the content consumption pattern has changed.
Very competitive, very crowded. The objective is basically to democratize cancer care.
I see a very bright future for retail industry.
Technology now allows us to scale up.
We also want to help patients become more compliant.
If I look at the custom solutions market, it's almost about $1,500 billion.
Your customers will not continue to be with you if you don't change it.
We had adopted digitalization much earlier.
within a very short span of time, we are the number one operator in whole of South India.
If you are reaching out to a lakh people today, you would be reaching out to an entire globe tomorrow.
We got those two brands and then immediately got into a few of the LFRs and there was no looking back.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 27th episode of Ascent Talks. My name is Ajit Panikkar, and I'm an Ascent member for 10 years, and I lead Nova, an air conditioning company, and Pure Blue, a tech-enabled startup offering air conditioning solutions across the country. And my co-host is Aleem. How are you doing, Aleem? 27th episode, my friend.
Absolutely, 27th episode, and good morning everyone. My name is Ali Merchant, and I run an advertising and marketing company called SEEBS here in Mumbai, and very excited to have you on the show today with a very, very exciting guest. And all this is happening under Ascent Talks, run by Ascent. And to tell you a little more about Ascent, nobody better than Ajit.
All right, guys, for all those guys who are joining us for the first time, Ascent is a not-for-profit expression of Harsh Mariwala, Chairman Marico Limited, and his passion to identify high-potential growth-stage entrepreneurs and enable them to grow their enterprise and enrich their entrepreneurial journey. Launched in 2012, Ascent today empowers more than 850 entrepreneurs across India. Ascent is designed as a unique, powerful peer-to-peer platform that leverages the power of the collective through self-facilitated groups called trust groups, which enables entrepreneurs to share and exchange experiences, ideas, insights, and create a healthy ecosystem to learn from each other. Today's event, a weekly event, Ascent Talks, showcases Ascent members and their interesting entrepreneurial journeys. So, Alim, let's bring in our interesting guest today.
Absolutely. Introducing Anand Baldawa. Anand has spent 15 years in finance, advising clients and finalizing deals to help them buy, take over companies, etc. And now Anand manages his family business, which has two primary business verticals: SEEBA Industries, which focuses on manufacturing, trading, and exporting metal-based tableware and kitchenware products, and SEEBA Lifestyles, which focuses on importing and warehousing and distributing over 6,200 SKUs from 18 plus global brands to trade and retail customers in India. SEEBA represents brands such as Denby, Amifa, Jamie Oliver, Darrington, Royal Prestige, etc. Everything from prep to cook to dine and to store and even bar. Okay, that's what Anand deals in. And Anand is also a very special person for me because he initiated me into Ascent. So an initiator is basically somebody, the moment a trust group is formed, an initiator trains you how to work around the Ascent. So Anand, welcome to the show, and I'm very, very happy to have you here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you, Aleem. Aleem, I think you've done a fantastic job. I'm going to take the writing and probably use it for my future purposes. So you've explained my business better than I have. So thank you for that.
I skipped 3 brands because I couldn't pronounce it.
Luigi Bormioli was one of them. I figured that. I don't know the other.
I've done that in practice.
Yeah, but no, thank you very much. Extremely happy to be here. You guys have been doing a fantastic job. So happy to be of help again.
Thank you, Anand. Anand, off the bat, can you tell us about what is SEEBA? What do you do today? What is the key USP? What is it that really makes SEEBA very, very interesting?
Sure. So essentially, we are in the kitchen product space. Very, very simply, our customers, whether they are retail or wholesale, they use our products 365 days a year, 3 times a day, whether it is rain or shine, whether it is a global financial crisis, or whether it is a boom period in the world. So we are in the kitchen products business. Like you mentioned, we've got two businesses. On one side, we manufacture. That's the legacy I took over from dad. We are a OEM white label, private label manufacturer. We manufacture premium end kitchen products. We're not at the mass level, and we export them. That was one business, and the other business, the manufacturing business is about 35 years old, and the slightly newer baby on the block is a 5-year-old business called thinKitchen. And thinKitchen is all about bringing international brands to India. I think the logic for thinKitchen was simply saying we are in a country with a 1.4 billion population. There is about 50 million of that who are elite and affluent and who need access to premium kitchen products, for whom money is not the only thing. Value comes first, price comes second, maybe. And we wanted to cater to that market. I mean, I look at both of you, and I've discussed this with you in many, many times before. It's like, if you have to go buy a fine pair of wine glasses, where do you go? Unfortunately, there is no such place in India where one can go, whether online or offline. Or if there are far and few. So we are catering to that segment on the premium kitchen side and on the distribution side. So all in all, it's kitchen products, premium kitchen products, good quality products, creating experiences in the home. Obviously, the last 3 or 4 years, fortunately or unfortunately, have helped us because people have spent more time at home. And that essentially is our USP, to make sure everyone enjoys that little bit of cooking or spending time together as a family in home. And we're trying to be a facilitator to that.
Wow. Well, Anand, tell me something here. You said you're catering to the ultra premium segment of the entire market. So how big is this market here? Is it really so big? Or is it growing at that pace? What actually gets you to only cater to that market? Or does it get too overcrowded in that space? Tell us a little about that space, because none of us understand it very well.
Yeah, so funny you ask this question, because I spent the last 5 years trying to get a number, and only 2 months ago I got one number. And that was a proprietary research that we did. The market for premium, I wouldn't say ultra premium, the market for premium kitchenware products is about $400 million in India. It is amazing. I mean, I was thinking about it, and I use it in many conversations, which is, you'd be surprised where we get orders from. We get orders from Kalimpong, we'll get orders from Islampur. I have not heard these cities, or if I've heard of them, they're tier 3, tier 4 cities. So put all of them together, you're talking about a $400 million market growing up to $1 billion in 5 years' time. And again, this is not our back of the envelope calculation. This is proper market research that has been done. Globally, the kitchen space is $100 billion market and growing. They're not going to grow at fantastic double-digit, triple-digit numbers. This is a GDP level growth. But the benefit of that is, like I mentioned earlier on, it's whether it's 2008 or 2018, we're still going to grow. People are still going to eat. People are still going to eat 3 times a day, and people will need the product. So that's how it compensates for each other.
Fantastic. And Anand, like you correctly said, people are going to eat and they're going to continue. I mean, nobody's going to stop eating. But what are the changes you are seeing now? I mean, as you spoke, you said wine glasses, fine wine glasses. Where do we go and buy it? So what are the changes you're seeing now slowly? Are people becoming more brand aware? Are they getting more conscious about what they're gifting? What is this market that you're seeing?
A lot of things.
Or just to add to what Aleem said, is it just a gifting market, or actually people buying it because I want to use great crockery? Is that also happening, or is it all B2B? How does it work?
No, it's a lot of self-consumption. I think it starts with self-consumption, and I think the concept of gifting is, if I like it, then I'll gift it. Generally, you'll probably want to gift something that you've used, at least if it's a genuine gift, if it's a true gift. So both are segments. Now, if you talk about it, Ajit, Aleem, in terms of what's driving it, it is the drive for education and awareness, the need for education and awareness in this segment. And I use multiple examples. I'm sure Alim, we've probably spoken about it. 20 years ago, the kitchen was one corner of the house. Didn't matter what is happening over there, didn't matter what it is cooked in, as long as what comes out of there is tasty. One example. The second example I know is my mom, and full credit to her, no offense, and I hope she loves me. She's used one kitchen knife her entire life. The same thing with the steel handle and the plastic at the bottom, and she's used that. Now you ask my wife, she'll say there is a pairer's knife, there is a bread knife, there is a chef's knife, there is a two types of chef's knife. That education that people have got thanks to social media, thanks to the world becoming more closer because of internet, thanks to shows online or shows on TV, that education has helped us sort of bring this market to scale. People have moved from, even houses in India, you've moved from having, one bedroom kitchen to an open plan kitchen. And when that happens, a lot of things are happening around the kitchen. Plus, like I said, COVID times, people spent a lot of time in the home, and they realize that, it's not just about price. It's not about meko sasta or tikau do. It is about give me value, which I know is going to last for me. So it's about the lifetime value of a product, like the lifetime value of a consumer, the lifetime value of a product over the immediate benefit that I'm getting in way of a price discount. And that, I think, when the consumer understood that, they started to get a little more educated. They started to get a little more aware that these products are available. These kind of things are happening because, Indians have started to travel a lot more, read a lot more. When all of these happened, that's when, it made sense for them to start looking out for these products. And we are lucky to be, hopefully at the right time at the right place.
Nice. Anand, I want to take you through your entrepreneurial journey. You are a second generation entrepreneur. In your best days, you are earning tons of money and you're having lots of fun in the US. What happened to you, man? Why did you come back? How did you? Who in the right mind would want to come back? And how did you come back? And how did you get it so right? Tell us about it.
It's fine. When Alim talked about my background and he talked about selling businesses or doing investment banking, I'm like, I've done everything from selling companies to selling utensils. So bring it on. So that is my claim to fame, perhaps. But I went to study to the US because I wanted to do my MBA. So this goes back 15, 20 years. I wanted to do my MBA because I wanted to do more than what I have educated by then at that point in time. And I wanted to be in the thick of M&A because I had only done a little bit of M&A in India before. And I said, I'm on the periphery of things. I need to be in the crux of things. What do I need to do? I need to do investment banking. How do I go from a single guy, average guy in India to become M&A? Where does M&A happen a lot? New York. How do I move from here to there? So I thought of MBA as a good stepping stone into the MBA. Got there, got lucky, got a few jobs, did all of that. In my entire career, Ajit, actually, I've never really wanted to stay abroad. I told my dad also, saying, you know what, I'll study for 2 years, I'll work for 2 more years, and I'll be back in 4. Agreed, the 4 became 10. But, it was never a thought in my mind saying, I want to settle abroad, I want to live abroad. It never really excited me. I like gully cricket more than, field baseball or field basketball or whatever you want to call it. So that's essentially, that's what it was. So that kind of took in. I was lucky enough to get a good job, was doing decent in investment banking, but then there was a family business which was also running. And like I say, I don't know if I should, but I've spent my summer vacations at work. It's not child labor. I did it out of choice, but I've spent summers, going to the bank and seeing the numbers and seeing some of these products around. I mean, we were a home office at that point in time. It was a small business. So you've gone through that, you've seen the business. And so I think in 2012, my dad, when it had become 10 years, it was starting at 4, became 10. Dad said, boss, tu aa raha hai ki nahi aa raha? Otherwise, I'm very happy to shut the business down or sell it off. And I said, I'll give it a shot for 2 years. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'll lose 2 years of my life, but at least I won't have regrets later saying, should have done that. And, 2 years, 2012 to 14 came down, looked at the opportunity. And I keep saying, obviously the trailer was very different than the movie I saw. But, at the end of the day, still the 2 years have become 12. The business is alive and growing. I am alive, and Dad is alive. So we're all happy. So I'm sure something's going right. So that's the sort of the journey. I think it was not a. It was not planned, but it was never too much to think about. Life is reasonably simple for me, and I'm happy about that.
Anand, you make all this sound very simple. Ajit, yeah, go on.
No. His dad is quite a visionary, All he did was, better come to office, just hang around, see what is there, take an add-on credit card also, keep it with you, just hang around. And then after every 4 years, he'll suddenly, ab to aaja, ab to it just worked, man, dude.
I've personally met Anand's father. I can tell you he's quite a thing because he's actually driven from Bombay to London or something like that. So, whole new story around that actually. But yeah, Anand, coming back, so you make all this sound very simple, I mean, okay, I did this and it was all very cool about it. Tell me, what challenges do you face and what challenges are you facing today? What is the tough part of this whole business?
Okay, challenges that I faced is easier than challenges that I'm facing. Challenges I faced was the first 2 years of coming back, or maybe 4 years, And again, I'll use an example. I don't know how many listeners would have heard of Lakshman Sylvania as an example. The ad that came for Lakshman Sylvania saying "Sare ghar ke badal dunga." I came with the same mindset, saying, I've been there, done that. This little high, you got a little halo about your head, saying I'll change the business, we'll modernize this and all of that. And then you come into from a very organized setup to a very, very unorganized setup. Not only an unorganized setup in an unorganized market. So all the more difficult, at least for me. And so when that happened, there was a big challenge in terms of, how am I going to go about it? Because everyone I meet is giving me gyan. And honestly, that is one reason, and I'm not saying it because we're on this platform, but that was one reason for me to join Ascent, because there was no gyan. But everyone was giving gyan. And I'll use an example. I know we went and met one of our suppliers. Before him, I mean, like both of you have done a little bit of background research on us as a company and me. Those guys, before knowing anything, said, "Beta, tu na dhande mein ye karna." I'm like, "Lekin uncle, aapko to pata hi nahi main kya karne wala hu. So how are you advising me on something you don't know? Even I don't know about it." So it was a lot of that. That was a challenge. A culture change was a challenge because a lot of the times, I am of the habit to ask why. Now, why in Hindi is kyun or ye kyun kar rahe. Now, ye kyun kar rahe can have two ways depending on how you're saying it. Ye kyun kar rahe? या ये क्यों, मतलब how dare you ask me ये क्यों कर रहे हैं? हमको तुमको क्या लगता है हमको पता नहीं है कि हम ये क्यों कर रहे हैं, या ये तो सर ने बोला था तो हम कर ही रहे. And I have had some challenges around people and convincing them to understand why you're doing it in the first instance, understand where are we going with it, understand that the process is more important than I am doing it. So that, I think, were the bigger challenges. Obviously, Dad and me, we had our own challenges in the way that, and this is a long answer. Sorry, I should have caveated that in the beginning. But Dad and I had today we are great friends. But we had that first 2 years because let's be honest, this is his first baby. Not by age, but this is his first baby. He spent most time in the business. Uske baad the 3 kids come somewhere in the line. So he is extremely close to it. And here I am trying to prove myself. I've come into the business saying, you know what, if someone has taken me on board, I got to prove myself and prove my mettle. Both of us are equally, I wouldn't say strong-headed, but we reasonably, we focused on what we want to do. Both for the good, but however, the path is not the same. His approach to business is very different. My approach to business is very different. And can I blame him? No. It was right in 1970s and 1980s and 1990s, but the world has changed since then. So very strong-headed. Both of us realized that, two people can't drive the same car at the same time. One of us has to drive it. So that led to the first 2 years were a lot of, and I was talking to, I think, Alim, Ajit at some point, I keep saying in Hindi, like, wo ye kahani mein drama bhi tha, emotion bhi tha, action bhi tha. It's like a Bollywood movie. So,
इसलिए सुपर हिट है, इसलिए सुपर
so we've had broken glasses. I've had broken doors. There was a glass door which I banged and it broke. I'm sorry, but it broke. So we've had everything as a challenge. When you want to get that mindset ready, you want change to happen. All of those things were happening. Those were challenges in the early days. I think the other challenge also was, and again, maybe not related to business as much, was at that point in time, the four of us were also in business. Mom, me, dad, mom to a lesser extent, but me, dad, and my wife. And we were living under the same roof. So four people in the same business under the same roof is not a good idea, because you are only discussing business 24/7. And that was a challenge in itself, and would I have guessed that this problem is going to come? Not at all. I mean, as you go along, you realize ki, हाँ, ये challenge है, अब इसको solve करते हैं, what's the next one, sort of a thing. So yeah, I mean, very many challenges. Mindset as a challenge, if you think of it, putting the purpose, why are we doing this, before the how are we doing it or what are we doing. Saying no to customers was a challenge, in the sense that it was not a challenge for me, but to the elder generation is, "Arey baba, Lakshmi ko kabhi na nahi bolte." And I'm like, no, you got to say no sometimes. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not going to bend over backwards unreasonably to make sure you're happy.
Yeah.
But that was a challenge. So all of those, I think I'll probably club everything under mindset.
Yeah.
And that was, a mindset hurdle that I had to overcome, in terms of, I'm here for the good of the business. We will take care of the business. Perhaps not as much care as you can take, but we've got some strengths, we've got some lesser strengths, and we've got some weaknesses. But no one's going to be as good as you are in whatever way. That package is different than this package, and that's probably how I would take it. Luckily, mom came to rescue at some point in time, whenever the tempers ran high, and all got solved. Dad retired, I think, about actually I shouldn't use the word retired, he doesn't like that. But dad, he decided to take a back seat in, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, and but he's still the chairman, so I do report to him. But it's different, what we realized, and sorry again, it's a very long answer, but what we realized is that he likes to be informed, not involved. And you find those things after you've gone through some discussion, saying, "Acha, aapko ye chahiye na, ho jayega." And that's sort of the typical second generation, first generation challenge, the way I see it.
Amazing. But Anand, I just want to understand, from your business, you inherited a manufacturing business, controlling the entire value chain, and then you decided to get into distribution of selling international brands. They're two different business models, and sometimes they can get into loggerheads with each other. Does that really happen, or do they actually complement each other, or what are the difficulties in managing two different diverse portfolios like this?
I think they complement each other than hurting each other, to be very honest, Ajit, in the sense that ultimately I'm still in the kitchen space. And the way we've sort of structured our relationship is that some of our customers are also our brand partners. The imports business I call as brand partners. So I have a two-way street with them. And now that gives them trust that, Anand is not going to run away, or Anand or SEEBA or thinKitchen is not going to run away, because, there are these two levers, one they can pull, one we can pull. And that sort of helps. Us knowing the kitchen space, us knowing the manufacturing space helps us a lot, because they get comfort saying, at least we don't have to teach these people about the basics of the kitchen product, the science behind it. Amazing. They understand that bit of it. So when we looked at it, that is the compliment. Why did we get into that business? Was simply because one brand asked us saying, "Do you want to do it?" And I was sitting here 2015 or 16 and saying, try karne mein kya jata hai? Worst case, again, same logic with the 2 years in 2012, saying, what's the worst that's going to happen? That we might not be able to do it. Let me tell them, saying, I've never done it before. I'm going to try it. I'm going to invest some money. I'm going to invest a lot of effort, some money, and I will see if I can make it work. And, one thing led to the other, and, it's only grown. So the only thing is now we are 35 brand strong from the one brand that we started. So clearly it's all heading in the right direction. Now, this is my perspective. From the brand's perspective, they're all sitting and looking at India as a country and saying 1.4 billion people. Chalo, 3, 9, 5 or 10% bhi le lo, because there are some reports which say 10% of India is affluent and elite. That's 140 million people. That's more than the population of so many countries put together in Europe, perhaps. And that is a market which is not tapped. And that's, again, I'm talking of only 140 million people who are living a life like a European, who are living a life like an average American and average European, perhaps, or even better for that matter in some cases, right? So All these brands are looking at that, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know doing business in India is difficult. Partnering with the right partner is important. Should they set up greenfield? Should they do brownfield? No one has a clue. So that the requirement from the brand's perspective, our thought process on India and saying we've understood the kitchen market, we'll have to work a little hard, we'll have to put in a little effort. The fact that there was no one else doing it per se, where would you go to buy it? There weren't very many names or players in that space, online or offline. There were a few. So when you put all of this together, you're like, logically it makes sense. Now execution, masala is in the execution, so we got to work hard on that and see if we can make a case out of it. And slowly and steadily we realized that if you put in the right effort, we made tons of mistakes, whether it are people mistakes or product mistakes or brand mistakes, but you learn along the way. And come today we realize that there is a market, there is a need, there is a customer. And I keep saying, in India, demand is the least of our problems. Our problem is to make sure that the serviceability, the delivery is there. And when we did all of this analysis, did some couple of research reports, or got initiated some research reports, we found that there's an opportunity, and that's how we kind of looked at it. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but that was sort of the big picture.
Super.
Nice.
Anand, I have a quick question for Ajit and both of you. Okay, we all three are Ascent initiators. All three of us initiated. Let's do a small, quick poll. How many groups have you initiated? Okay, I'm giving you a count of 3. Okay, I need to put your finger out. I know Ajit will need 4 more hands, but yeah. So okay, let's just throw our numbers. How many groups have you initiated, Anand?
I think I've done 5 or 6. I don't know, 5 or 6.
Ajit is doing in double digits.
Yeah,
I
easily.
think it's about 12 or 13, I think.
Yeah.
I've done about 3 or 4, I think. So yeah, so clearly we have a winner in the room. But Anand, tell us your Ascent journey. Tell us about it. I mean, you're a big advocate of Ascent. We know. Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge advocate of Ascent. And I think it's been 10 years. The joke, which not just applies to me, applies to the 3 of us, is that we are furniture in Ascent. So we're gonna be there for a while, whether they like it or not. But I think I started Ascent as what's the harm? And a lot of things in life, work, everywhere, I'm like, करके देखते क्या होएगा, worst case क्या होएगा, अच्छा नहीं लगेगा तो ठीक है, we'll figure it out, but at least there's no regret later on. So I started with that, saying I don't know what it is, I've never heard of it. It came in a magazine or something like that, and I applied, got through. And since then, it's no looking back, honestly. I have changed trust groups, done multiple roles, and all the other designations that Ascent has, and gone through every bit of it. It's brilliant. It's sort of, for me, even after I think there's some mindset thing. Even after having that mindset, sometimes I would say by default or subconsciously, you still have horse blinders on. My trust group helps me remove those horse blinders. My trust group is great in the sense that they give me a tough time when I have to present to them and all of those things, but that's what I want. I mean, if I wanted yes men, then there are other groups that are out there for doing that. Ascent is that thing where they're like, Anand, why are you not thinking of this? I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. And why are you not thinking of your own brand and all of those things? So huge advocate. It's a mirror. Board and everyone uses the word saying it's an advisor, but absolutely for me it's a mirror saying, look, we have zero interest in your business. All of the benefit that comes out of it is yours. We just want to open up a mirror so that there is enough reflection of light. Some of that hopefully gets into your head, and new ideas come to you, sort of a thing. For me, that is sort of the main purpose of Ascent. They have my trust group right now is brilliant. We meet once a month, sometimes twice a month if we have to. So that's what it helps as a trust group. And I'm not talking about the Ascent Conclave and the knowledge sessions. Those are obviously added benefits. I think the other benefit I've had is, like Ajit, or Alim, making a phone call and you're always available. For that matter, Sanjay Mariwala is there. So there are so many people in Ascent. I have shamelessly, I'm sorry, but I've picked up the phone and, said, I just need to talk to you for half an hour. I'll come prepared with whatever I have, but I want your thoughts. And it's always helped me. So just beyond our trust group, there's been so much other ways for me to learn. So I think
amazing.
It's great. Yeah.
Super. Anand, actually, we've just reached towards the end of the show to our 30 minutes, but it's been fantastic listening to you. And I'm so glad that, you even brought out some of those Some of those challenges that we don't want to even talk around in the open, but you actually spoke about it and put it very gracefully. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Anand, for actually being with us on Ascent Talks. It's been fun listening to you today.
Thank you, Anand.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
See you
Thanks
soon.
a lot. Thank you very much. Oh man, that was good, man. So that's another interesting story that we can. Yeah, superb, man. I mean, actually fantastic. And you can see that enthusiasm, no? Question khatam nahi hua, uske pehle that the flow starts. He's like super enthused about it. So it's good fun, man. Absolutely good. But yes, guys, so we're then towards the end of our 27th show. And if you like our shows, follow us on those various social media handles. We go live every Friday at 11 a.m. Share it with your friends. It's great to just share it with your entrepreneurial friends. But if you're a growth-ready entrepreneur, and like how Anand told us today about his Ascent journey, you want to explore Ascent, get to ascentfoundation.in, fill in that application, and that Ascent team will get in touch with you. There will be a certain evaluation process. And if you clear through those evaluations, we'll be happy to have you in our cohort. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. And we're going to see you next Friday, same time, 11 a.m., with another interesting story of an Ascent entrepreneur. Thank you very much, guys.
Have a good weekend, guys. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.